Hi, I'm Vic Vogel. I wanted to take a moment and cover something that was asked about my interpersonal communication leadership course. Someone was asking me what we talk about in the classes. It's a 12-week course, one night a week, 2 hours a night, sometimes 3 hours, depending on the discussion. And what happens is we address the basic skills that leaders use, and we teach how to adjust the communication interpersonal communication depending upon the skill that leaders are using. What I have found in the past is leaders will go away, they'll learn like conflict management. They'll come back and try to apply that, and it doesn't work in their work environment because one, they don't have anybody there to support them and work with them. A lot of times these companies don't have, particularly small businesses, don't have mentors or coaches to help the leader apply what they learn. So they try to apply the model or concept, say conflict management, and it doesn't work. And so when it doesn't work, then they just forget about it. It's done. They don't try to use it again. And that's why only about 25% of the people go away and learn something in leadership development program, come back and actually can change employee behavior with this new concept that they've learned and they're using. The 75% of the people who go out to leadership courses don't do that. And comes from Gallup, Pew, and a bunch of other research companies that do research on leadership. So uh, I was asked, how do you, what do you talk about when you're talking about a communication style that's different? Well, if you are dealing with a conflict resolution issue, there's some things that you might have to do, like you have to diffuse the conflict immediately, that you may not have to do if you're um, conducting a high performance team session and building team building, or you're trying to inspire employees to be more motivated. Though there's different approaches you take, different messages you send, different ways you deliver those messages. Different reliance on things like emotional intelligence and other areas that you do differently and approach differently. And so that's what this course is about. We take each one of those skill sets and we talk about the best interpersonal communication approach to using that skill set so you have a better chance of successfully using the skill set with your employee and actually affecting their behavior, improving their behavior, and getting them to go where you want them to go. So someone was talking to me and they were saying, what are some of the things that you do? And I said, well, one of the things is to ask more questions and you tell people to do things. Because it encourages learning. It opens up the need or the perception that you care about them and you want to hear what they have to say about something. Anyway, we were talking about that area of questioning, that whole dynamic, and they got very interested. And as I was talking about it, it just came to my mind that. Um, I'm not sure a lot of people think about this. A lot of leaders out there, or a lot of business people, think about this as a really strong tool. I don't think people really even think about interpersonal communications. So let me take it just 1 second and say to you, for interpersonal communication, I simply mean when you're dealing with your people or anyone else for that matter, when you're talking, you're interfacing with them, you are in fact interpersonally connecting with them. So that takes you into the realm of emotional intelligence and other aspects of dealing with each other. Now, how you do that is through communication. And there is a process where you create a message or you initiate a message, and how you send that message, whether it's personal, whether it's like I'm doing with you right now through a video conferencing, or whether you do it through a sticky note or a text message or something like that. So delivery has an impact. And then, of course, there are a lot of barriers that can get in the way of delivering that message. And then there's the how you receive the message as a person and what you put emphasis on in terms of understanding the meaning of that other person's message. And then how they know whether you, in fact, understand what they're saying comes in feedback, and active listening becomes part of that. Probably everybody's had a course in active listening. There's a lot more that we discuss about active listening. And questioning plays a big role in that active listening process. So if you didn't have a lot of discussions about questioning, and the approach to questioning, you probably didn't get all you needed in active listening. So those are things that show how we communicate. So that combination of intersecting, there's an intersection of interpersonal relationships and communication that I term it interpersonal communication. In fact, I have a book out there that I'll put that in the listing of the video. It's called Navigating Conversations, uh, the intersection of emotional intelligence and mastery of communication. It's titled something like that. The intersection, they're inextricably intertwined and they're not separable. You have to have proficiency in both of them to be effective at communicating effectively. And that becomes critical for you to want somebody else to change their behavior or regulate their behavior. That becomes part of what you have to master. This questioning process is just an element we cover in this process. And I thought, well, if I did a series of podcasts sort of explaining the kinds of things we talk about when we talk about questioning in this course, I'm not going to teach the questioning concepts in the podcast, but just making you familiar with what we talk about may encourage you to go look it up and see what else is out there that you can learn about this. So I call this Mastering the Art of Questioning, Leading, Coaching, and Mentoring through Inquire. So there's a list of folks who probably would benefit from looking at these podcasts, but also probably benefit from the course. But uh, the the things that we going to talk about, for example, are these. This is going to be like I said, 5 podcast series. Um, the first thing we're going to talk about is the power of questions, the foundation, the philosophy of questioning, why it's so powerful, why it works so well, and helping people understand things, and even self-discovering, how you can help them self-discover their learning. So that's one of the things. Another thing we talk about is the art of asking the right question. Binary question, open-ended questions. We're going to give you a whole list of a variety of questions, and we talk about those questions and how to use them, when to use them, where to use them, that dynamic. We talk about what's going on with the questioning process and why it works, and the strategy associated with why you would use certain questions in certain ways at certain times uh, that are more effective than other questions. So we get into the cognitive process, why questions are, why they make people think, and why they're useful, and why they are so powerful. It helps understanding a little more why they're powerful. Uh, we talk about questions in terms of them building relationships. You can connect with people so well when you begin to use a questioning process periodically, when you use it effectively, when you use all the first three areas highly effectively, you come across as competent and someone who's open and interested and compassionate and wants to help kind of approach. That's always a good posture for a leader to be coming to their folks. And it's a good posture for anyone you're interacting with, by the way. So all of this stuff is targeted leaders and coaches and mentors of leaders, but the idea is, it really will work for anybody. It'll work for family situation, works for friend situations. It works if you're networking, whatever you're engaged in, where interpersonal communication is happening. And by the way, that's just about everywhere where there's another person involved. Everything begins and ends with interpersonal communication. Now, the last thing we talk about is special topics and questions. This is the ethics and morality area, because there's some things that you don't want to do when you ask questions, and there's some things that can literally border, when you're talking about a coach or mentor, that can border on therapy, and therapy is a licensed legal approach. And so if you're a therapist, you're probably getting a lot of this information in your psych courses, and you're probably getting a lot of, if not in communication courses, you're getting them in psych courses. A lot of these concepts are talked about, probably more in this, in anybody who's had those courses and who will be a licensed therapist. But there is a line that, from a questioning perspective and how you use those questions to help regulate behavior, that you don't cross over from being a mentor and a coach into the realm of therapy. It's an unethical thing to do, and in some cases, it's illegal to do. So we talk about all of that kind of stuff, and as we go along, also, so that the people aren't overstepping. There's boundaries around these questions, and we want you to know what those are so you don't overstep them, find yourself in trouble hurting somebody instead of helping them. So that's pretty much what we cover. We're going to be doing that on my channel. They'll be posted on Building Renaissance Leader, the channel in YouTube. Best way to know when they show up, because I don't have a set schedule for them, is going to be to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell there. So, and the email, however you get notified. So you get a notification immediately. At the end of all of these, I probably will run a YouTube live session to ask if anybody has any questions or they want to get in and ask questions or go deeper. You can ask those questions on the community, and you can also ask them on my website. You can request to talk with me on a visual. I don't charge for these things. You can asked to talk to me for a few minutes about a particular question you have on something, as long as it doesn't get into a consulting contract kind of thing. But I'm open to the dialogue with people to help them better understand why they may want to look further into these things, or maybe take the course that I'm offering. The course, you can find the description of, and you can find the course content there on victorvogel.com. If you go there, that's the first thing that comes up, versus the homepage. There's also, every time I do a podcast, there is a blog that is posted on there that has a summary and the key points for every video, every podcast I do. Every podcast is time stamped, so if you have your smartphone, you're about to do into a conflict resolution or a difficult discussion. And that was something I've done a podcast on. And some of these I've done podcasts on uh, to talk briefly about what these are. And they may have some information on there that would help you solve your pre-plan your discussion before you go into it, something maybe you didn't think about or may jog your memory about it. You can go to the timestamp, go to exactly what you need, take a look at it, or you can go to the blog and go down, look at the notes, and it may jog your memory and help you think about writing down something you need to remember as you go through that discussion. That's what this channel is for. It's a digital library that you have in your hand that's available for you to go use to kind of jog your memory and help you. It's hard to keep everything you need to learn in your head over the course of your career. So, one of the advantages I see in the internet is the ability to have things like the podcasts and social media so that you can go back and refresh your memory. You can go back and look at something. You don't have to keep everything at the top of mind. In fact, you can't. So that's just not possible. So I created this as a digital video library that allows you to have a resource to look at when you need it. But anyway, these are coming up, so I thought I would just kind of do this little brief mini podcast here to kind of tell you what to expect in those 5 questions. And if you're interested in how to effectively use questioning and what questioning is and why it's so powerful, it'll probably uh, encourage you to go look at other things and find out more about how to use questions effectively. So I hope this is beneficial to you. And I look forward to seeing you in a podcast. And go join the community there and join subscribe to the channel and let me know what you need me to tell you or help you with, and or if you just want to chat about any of the things that I do, I'm open to doing that. So just reach out. Okay, you have a nice day, and I'll see you. Look for the first podcast coming soon.